All right, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth, and today is March 17th, 2015, and today we are here with pro boxer Francisco Santana. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me, buddy.
I appreciate you taking time. I understand over the last 2 months you just added to your jewelry box there. You got yourself a nice belt, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm actually, it's a blessing in disguise. I'm very grateful, thank God, and, just basically it's a step forward. It's one step closer for me to capturing the money belts, the world title straps.
Okay, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, you're actually fighting at welterweight, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you're age 28 right now?
I'm 28 years old.
And you're still in
young, I want to say.
Are you still in Santa Barbara, California?
Yep, still living there.
Okay.
I live in Santa Barbara, commute to Ventura. Every day it's about 40-minute drive, to come here and train at my boxing gym. Play boxing in Ventura.
Is that Knuckleheads boxing or no?
Yes, Knuckleheads boxing club.
Okay, so you're still there, and then your pro record is actually 22 wins with 11 knockouts, 3 losses, and 1 draw, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, now your nickname, some people might not know, so I want you to explain it. It's Chia?
Yeah, like the Chia Pet.
Okay, but how did it come about though?
So it started back when I first started entering my first boxing gym in Santa Barbara. It was the Pro Boxing Club. It was out in Santa Barbara, nonprofit gym back in those times. I walked in and I had my chia. I had a hair of a chia pet. I mean, it was just extremely long. It was just wild. I couldn't style it for the love of life of me, man. Like, it was just no hair product would basically can fix my hair. So people just started calling me Chia. My old amateur coach, actually, when I first walked in, he was like, "Dude, your hair looks like a chia pet." And I had no idea what that was. About a year later, I finally figured out what it was. He basically gave me the nickname, and the rest of the history. I mean, everybody just started calling me Chia, and to this day, that's when people really know me from my real name. So it's pretty funny.
It is probably funny because a lot of boxing fans probably see that on your trunks on TV, and they probably just thinks it's some type of Spanish word for some type of boxing warrior, tough guy, and it actually means Chia Pet.
Yeah, it actually means the total opposite. It's probably nothing tough from that at all.
Okay, are you signed with Golden Boy?
No, I'm signed with Gary Shaw.
Okay, with Gary Shaw. Okay, I wanted to clarify that to make sure. So I want to bring up a few names that you've fought and hear what you got to say about the fights. And obviously, you've learned a few things from these fights, and you've moved on, and you're on a winning streak. And we're gonna get to the fact that you just won a WBA International belt. But
okay.
I'm going to jump back first to Antonio Johnson because he's from where I'm at right now in Minnesota. I know you won a unanimous decision against him. And I know there was, both sides kind of have their own opinion on how that fight went. So what did you think of Antonio Johnson as a fighter?
Well, I mean, he was a good fighter. I mean, I remember back in the days, in his amateur days, he was a world-ranked amateur standout. I remember him winning all, quick stories. Back in my amateur days, I wasn't that good. So I would always make it to the nationals, but I would always lose in the first fight. So I basically would be in the stands as an audience just watching all the fighters. And I would always watch Antonio Johnson make it to the finals or win nationals. So growing up, I used to always see him win, basically kick butt in the amateurs. And I think he was being trained by Virgil Hunter at the time. At the time I was signed with Goose and Tudor Promotions. And I think he used to be part of the Goose and Tudor as well, from what I remember. And I mean, they offered us a fight at the Club Nokia. I think the main event was Hasim Rockman, I believe, and I don't remember who he fought, but yeah, we fought at Nokia, Club Nokia, and you know, it was a good competitive fight, but you know, a lot of people say it could have gone either way. I felt, I mean, in my eyes, obviously, a true fighter knows when they win the fight or when they lose the fight. And that night, I felt like I won the fight based on me applying the pressure, letting my hands go. I felt like I connected a lot more punches. You know, he did counter me with some decent shots, but one decent shot does not accumulate a victory. You know, by me connecting five shots. So I just felt that at the end of the night, I felt like I threw more punches, I connected more. There's a few times that I definitely caught him off balance or almost stopped him a few times. So I felt that that night, I mean, I felt like I was a winner. But nevertheless, I mean, you know, everybody's going to have their opinion. And, you know, it's in the past, and that's history, and we all move past it.
All right, now let's. I want to bring up another name, Kareem Mayfield. Now you fought him twice, right? Once to a split decision, and then you were TKO'd in the 5th, right?
Yes.
So he's actually 2 of your losses out of the 3, and is that just one of those guys that you just in your career you just sometimes you just gotta live with it? You just can't get past them, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the first fight when we fought, I mean, it was an all-out war. It was actually, you know, for me, it was a very memorable night for me. You know, I mean, of course, it was my first loss, but most importantly, Angelo didn't beat. I think that was the last time he was in a corner. He was in Kareem Mayfield's corner that night. He was coaching him. And to me, actually, that I felt like it was an honor. You know, yes, you know, he was against me, but at the end of the night, I felt that was history in my eyes. You know, having a trainer like him, you know, a Hall of Famer and basically a legend that shared, you know, the ring in there with Kareem Mayfield and myself. That was a memorable experience. But as far as the fight, it was an all-out war, you know, between me and Mayfield, and again, I take my hat off to him. He's a good dude, and I felt that his awkward style, you know, basically, it'll give anybody a hard time, you know. I mean, you go back to his record, and he's probably one of those guys that has taken a lot of O's away, you know, and I respect him for that. You know, he's fought all up and comers and all tough dudes. You know, like myself, I've never said no to anybody. So yeah, man. Me and him, that was the first fight. Was a memorable fight. And on the second fight, you know, he needed a rematch, and I went into the fight, you know, and you know, once the bell rang, I basically. To be honest, I didn't even remember what was going on. I just remember him hitting me with the jab, and then next thing I know, I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like I don't recall what had happened in those 5 rounds of that fight, but I guess you know, he stopped me, and I have nothing else to say but congratulations to him. You know, like I said back then, you know, he beat me fair and square, and you know that night the better man won. So. Ever since then, I took my loss like a man, and I moved past it, and basically it's like anything, we will have to overcome, you know. Not how hard you fall, is how you get back up. And
okay.
I've been proving it so far.
And how about the Jermell Charlo fight? Did you learn anything from that loss?
Oh, I actually, since it's Jermell Charlo, I learned a lot. I think I learned more from that loss than what I did with the Mayfield loss. The Jermell Charlo did the fight. You know, it was, you know, I mean, he beat me, and again, you know, it was a very close fight, but he beat me unanimous decision. You know, he had a really good jab, and he outboxed me. And I think at that time, I was in that transition of switching, you know, with my old amateur coach, basically the only coach that I knew my entire life. we had a fallout, and I left, and that's when I kind of basically hooked up with Coach Haas. I had been training with him for about 2 months, and I was just trying to get in that groove, of his style, and trying to basically break all the habits of mine. And I think at that fight, it was just one of those fights that I think my nerves kind of got to me, and in my insecurity of myself. I really did have that confidence in myself as a fighter and as a person. And I think all that got to me, and it showed in the fight. I did hurt Jermell Charlo at one point, but based on my lack of experience and lack of confidence, I felt that I couldn't finish him off. And I let him off the hook, and he turned the fight around, and basically he did what he did best, and he outboxed me, and good stuff for him.
Okay, now you just mentioned you had switched trainers and stuff. Now, are you talking about your original trainer, Wayne McCullough? Is that what you're talking about?
No. My original trainer was Joe Palmieri. He's from Santa Barbara. The guy that gave me the nickname Chia Pet.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then at one point, Craig Goosen, Dan Goosen's son, he recommended for me to train with Wayne McCullough. So I left. Left my old trainer for a little bit, in good terms and all. I left with him, and I went out to with Wayne McCullough, and I actually worked with him for about 2 fights between him and I. And we actually, he's a good friend of mine. We built a good friendship and stuff. Him and his wife Cheryl and his daughter Winona and all them. And I learned a few things from him, but at the end of the day, there was just something missing. I felt like that spark wasn't, I felt that spark wasn't really in me, and I was losing it. And I think a lot of it was that I moved up to Las Vegas, and I got homesick, and, being out there by myself, so I took that decision to just go back home where I was comfortable at Santa Barbara. So that was the reason why I left Wayne, and I got too homesick.
Okay.
And that's when I came back to Joe, and I went back with Joe for a little bit, but then he just couldn't take me further enough. I felt like I needed someone that can bring that old spark in me, and Coach Haas has been nothing but wonders for me. I mean, he not only made me a better fighter, but he's made me a better person, and he's given me that confidence that as a person and as a fighter that that self-belief that I need. And I feel that finally now I belong with the elite, and that's thanks to him.
All right. I want to talk about another fight. When you fought Eddie Gomez and beat him, I understand that you got an arm injury during the fight, and I don't know if you told your corner or not, or you just waited until the end of the fight, but did you ever find out exactly what that was, and have you taken care of it so it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, of course. I went and got it checked out. It was in my elbow, like the 10th night, it got really inflamed to the point that I really couldn't, I couldn't fully extend it or fully hold it back. I basically had no mobility on it. The pain was just overwhelming me a lot, during that. And at this day, I don't know what caused it, but I did tell Coach Haas at one point, in the during the fight, that I really couldn't extend it, but I had to be very discreet about it. Basically, I had to lie to myself that that my hand was injured. Because we are in a fight, and I basically had to tell myself, we got the rest of tomorrow to figure out what was wrong with it. But at that moment, I had to find a way to win, and that's exactly what I did.
Do you think that it possibly could have been from overtraining?
No, I don't know. It might have been, maybe he caught me with a good shot. I blocked it, or maybe during the warm-up. I know that I did have some tendonitis problems in the past, but it had never been that bad before.
Okay.
So it might have been something like that. Who knows? I didn't feel like I was overtrained. I listen to my body sometimes, and I go based on whatever my coach reads my body and myself, and we go based upon that.
Okay. I want to talk briefly. How was your experience going over to the Philippines and actually sparring with Amir Khan and working with Manny Pacquiao?
That has to be one of the greatest and most blessed feelings ever. I think thanks to that trip, being out, across the world by myself, overseas, and being with fighters of that high caliber, such as, in my eyes, the pound for pound king, Manny Pacquiao, and with Amir Khan, two of the most highly respected fighters out there, and with Freddie Roach, I mean, that man is a legend, For me to have been out there and just train with the best and surround myself with the best, that definitely gave me that confidence that I was looking in myself. And I figured, you know what, I have what it takes to be up there with them, They're doing nothing different from what I'm doing, and there's no reason for me to be up there with them. So ever since that trip, I came back a new man, and the Philippines, everybody out there treated me, I gotta say, it's one of the most nicest people I've ever met up there in the Philippines, and everybody treated me very well with open arms and open hearts. And to me, that's probably one of the most memorable experiences that I'll have.
Okay. Also, you've sparred with Canelo Alvarez too, correct?
Yeah. And I was helping out with the Jose Lopez fight. I was up there in Santa Monica, the Wild Card West.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm just curious now, and I'm sure this has nothing to do with you. It's probably always your trainers and promoters' decision. I know you just go in there and you fight whoever they put you in with and wherever they tell you to fight. But I noticed that all your fights have always been in California, and just one has been in Nevada. Why haven't you fought anywhere else?
Again, because I had a promoter, for early in my career was Bruce and Tudor, and that's just all the dates he had. He had a lot of dates in California. He didn't have any dates outside of the state, And then when for a while, I fought Charlo in Nevada, and then I fought another time when I was boosting to Nevada as well. But again, when after a while, I didn't have a promoter. Nobody really wanted to help me out or offer me fights. And it wasn't until one day, Chumas Casino, which is literally 30 minutes away from my house, they called me within a few week notice, basically just to kind of fill seats in the stands. So they called me, and I took the fight. But right after the fight, I remember approaching Gary Shaw and asking him if he can sign me, and he said yes. And I think at that time, that's when he had a lot of dates right there at the tree match. So he basically told me that he wanted to build me back up again, because I had a tough break early in my career. So he's like, I want to build you back up. I see the talent in you, so I want to build you back up. I'm going to build you right here in your hometown. So that's one of the reasons why I fought a lot of the tree match, because he wanted to build me in my hometown again, where I was comfortable, and he felt when the time is right, we're going to have to take you out of state, But Gary Shaw, basically, there was a point where he didn't have a lot of dates, so I was just basically fighting wherever he told me to fight. So that's just how everything played out, But it's not because I've didn't want to fight out of state, or in different areas. That's just how things worked out.
Okay. Now, do you still have the Central Coast welterweight title?
From what I've heard, I believe so.
Okay. And now let's talk about your most recent fight that was just January 9th, where you actually fought Kendall Mena, who actually was undefeated, 20-0, and you actually won the WBA International Welterweight Title. Now, I mean, no disrespect, and I'm not taking anything away from you. You went in there, you did your job, you did what you're supposed to do, you knocked him out, and you won the belt. My whole thing is, and I want to hear this truthfully from you, the guy, I watched the fight. The guy's got slappy punches, he's got no defense, he may have an undefeated record, which I believe is a built-up record. Do you honestly believe that man deserved to be in the ring with you?
Yeah, well, obviously, at the end of the day, I feel that any fighter has a good chance of winning because they have 2 feet and 2 hands, and any fighter can end a fight with in the blink of an eye. But leading up to that fight, that's the one thing about my career. I have a lot of fights fall through. I was originally supposed to fight Sebastian Lujan, a very rugged, a tough Argentinian fighter. I was supposed to fight him, but then I don't know what happened that basically he pulled out of the fight. So then afterwards I was supposed to fight Randall Bailey. So I was like, okay, perfect, another a veteran with basically a one-punch knockout power. But then I want to say about 3 weeks before the fight, he pulled out, and I don't know why. A lot of these times I would always ask why, but I guess, he was way too overweight, and that was the reason for that. And to be honest, I didn't even think I was gonna fight. But then they called me up that hey, this is what we were able to find last minute. Nobody else wanted to fight. So I said okay, and I guess the reason why nobody wanted to fight was because I had 2 losses or 3 losses. So in other words, it's more like they would see my record as high risk, but low reward type of fight. Where they felt that I was a high risk, that this is a guy that he might give us an upset. He might beat me. But if I beat him, then a lot of people will be like, well, yeah, you beat him. Who did you beat? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, But as far as I've had a really tough luck to fight guys who basically good fighters who wanted to step up. So for a while, I was just fighting whoever I got.
And I want to get to that because personally, I'm sure you went into that fight thinking you were going to have a tougher fight than that, right?
Oh yeah, I was just, when they mentioned Lujan, I remember Lujan when he fought Margarito back in his day. So I was like, okay, he's gonna be a guy that was a good 10. He's gonna come there to fight. And then when they asked me against Randall Bailey, I was like, oh, dude, here's another dude who basically you can't blink basically because in a split of a second he's got that one-punch knockout power with that right hand that can hit anybody's night. So, I was just in the best shape of my life. I was basically ready to fight the best Randall Bailey that night. But then, then that happened. So, I just didn't get discouraged. Luckily, I stayed in the gym and I continued to train. And then they called me. Hey, guess what? Never mind. Like, you are gonna fight again. You're gonna fight this dude. So I'm like, oh, okay.
All right.
And me as a fighter, I'm not gonna do no 20 fights. Because I went from fighting these fighters to never mind, you're not fighting at all, to okay, yes, you are gonna fight. And I'm a family. I gotta feed my little one and my wife. So sometimes you just gotta take whatever they give you. And but I think after that fight, I felt that I made a big enough statement to basically
Okay, and I want to talk about that, a better fight for you, because I want to bring up a name, and I hope I get to see you fight this guy. I like this kid. He's a fast puncher. He moves well. He's a nice boxer, and I think you guys would match up well, and I think it would be a good TV fight. Is there any word that possibly down the line that you and the new Ray Robinson could be fighting?
Oh, yeah, that softball kid, right?
Yep.
Softball. You know what? I think we were somewhere along the lines. I heard that you were supposed to fight a few fights ago, but to be honest, I don't know what happened. You know, between that fight. But you know what? Like I said before, I mean, yeah, I obviously he's up in the rankings, and I've seen him fight a few times on ESPN, I believe it was. You know, very, very slick, tall, welterweight fighter, and he's a lefty. So, of course, you know, if down the line, a fight between him and I presents itself, like I said before, I don't touch anybody. I'm basically, I do. My ultimate goal is to be a world champion and to be the best fighter I can possibly be. And if that was for me to fight Ray Robinson, and why not this fight, you know? But, you know, whoever you put in front of me, I'll just get ready for whoever they put in front of me. And I have a motto, and that's to train, fight, win. And that's how I always stick to myself, you know, stick to my careers. I train every day hard, and when it comes to a fight, I'll fight, and by all means, I'll find a way to win all the time.
All right. Well, listen, on that note, I'm going to end the interview. I appreciate you taking the time and the honesty and talking about your career. And actually, I'm just going to throw out one more question, because you have worked with Manny Pacquiao and the big fights coming up. Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao? Who are you taking?
I'm a Manny fan, and everybody here knows is Team Pacquiao. So I gotta go with Manny. You know, I feel that you know, everybody has different opinions, but in my opinion, I feel that based on from what I've seen, Floyd in the last few fights, he's definitely fallen off a little bit. But, you know, you can't count him out. I feel that he's always had trouble with people that throw a lot of punches on him. And Manny Pacquiao throws, I believe, over 100 punches around, you know. That's just his average work rate. And I felt that Floyd's had trouble with fighters who throw that many punches. So it's one of those fights, though, that I gotta root for my boy. It's one of those fights that you just don't know what's gonna happen, and that's what makes it so sweet. That's why everybody wants to see this fight, because you don't know what outcome's gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm Team Pacquiao all the way.
All right, and with that, the truth has spoken.